Head for Bureau of Education Shisha Amara says Ethiopia's Ministry of Education is violating international law to please Abiy Ahmed. This comes after Ethiopia's Ministry of Education donated more than 210 million birr to Ethiopian National Defense Forces last week. The head says the act brings no surprise since the Ethiopian government is using all means to exterminate the people of Tigray.
You see, it has been close to 3 years since the total denial of right to education to Tigrayan children. See, as a civic institution, what could Ministry of Education think was, on the ways to devise alternative education systems to Tigrayan children, since they are citizens of Ethiopia, actually. So far, we are citizens of Ethiopia. So by taking this as perspective, what one can expect from Ministry of Education is on modalities to serve the Tigrayan children for their right to education. But in fact, this fascist group, let alone thinking to respect the right to education of Tigrayan children, is ultimately a group that decided to completely banish the entire Tigrayan people. So it's not going to leave the children, it's not going to leave the women, it's not going to leave the special need society. It's for the entire Tigrayan people that they came to vanish from this land. So ultimately they are serving their objective, which is pleasing their Lord, Abiy Ahmed. It's really extreme manship, that one can say. So what is the ultimate checkpoint for such manians is on how to please their Lord. So if there is any way for them to please Abiy, they don't care about, what the international conventions, declarations are, prohibiting to any civilian authority or civilian infrastructure not to be used in different military activities.
Recalling Ethiopian Airlines' busy weeks transporting weaponry to Ethiopian National Defense Forces, the head says Ethiopian officials wouldn't care to violate international laws and standards if they would have Abiy pleased.
That was really seen. We have been observing that the Ethiopian Airlines been serving the military activities of Abiy Ahmed, transporting military personnel, military equipment, and ultimately it was to the intention of vanishing Tigrayan people. And when you see this is happening by a civic institution called Ethiopian Airlines, it was really weird from the perspective of the international rules and regulations and conventions. The same is happening in Ministry of Education. And we know the leadership there is probably one of the best manians of that Lord. And they don't really see on what these guys are doing. They really see on how they are going to please their Lord. And that's why they did this.
Shisha also accused the Ethiopian government of enrolling children who should have been spending their times in education into its military ranks, violating children's right to education. He calls Ethiopian officials too irresponsible to care for children.
Yeah, actually, the Ministry of Education is not delivering only the monetary support. It's also not respecting the right to education of Ethiopian children. And they are keeping silent, or they are supporting, the enrollment of underage children to the military enrollment. This is evident from the military personnel that are surrendering to Tigrayan forces. They don't really care about the children that are missing the service of education. They don't really care about the children that are prohibited or denied from the right to education and the right to protection. The best example to evaluate this is the denial happened in Tigray. So far, it's close to 3 years that since the Tigrayan children are denied the access to education and even protection. So you don't that much expect from such guys that they will serve to the international rules and regulations of how to, on how to really respect different rules while serving in civic institutions.